Hello, boys and girls. Welcome to Behind the Cards. My name is Bobby. This is my channel, Wild Raven Tarot. This is the segment called Behind the Cards, where I'm interviewing people in the spiritual realm, specifically tarot. But this time, we've got off script. This time, we're talking to a friend of mine who is not only a Reiki master but who is also a witch in service to Hekate as I am. This is my friend Angel. Let's bring him on. Angel, how you doing today? Hi.
Hey, Bobby. Doing good.
Uh, I was lucky enough to meet Angel a year or two ago, and it was instant friendship, and I'm very glad that I had the opportunity to meet you. Let me switch sides with you. There. Um, Let me tell everybody. Well, Heather is with us right now. Hi, Heather. How you doing? Indigo Jaguar, Essence of the Moon, Selena. How you doing? Um, People are going to start trickling in right now. Angel, why don't you tell us a brief little bit about yourself while people start joining us? Hi, Maru.
Well, name is Angel. I've been doing spirit work for a few years now. Um, have quite a uh, background in uh, different aspects of spirit and spiritual work. Diverse. Um, I work with a lot of different people like yourself, Bobby, and others. Uh, just working on the journey toward enlightened self.
Awesome. I have wanted to do one of your services with the tuning forks. I'm gonna make an appointment with you because I really want to get that done. Can you explain about the chakras and what Reiki is before we start?
So the chakras, there's actually over 1,000, but too much to deal with. The main chakras are actually the main nerve endings in your body, starting from the root down right where your tailbone is, all the way up to the top of the crown, where the top of your head is. You can feel them, and they are the energy centers that make up each of us in all that we do. So as an example, the heart chakra, that which hopefully we're making our decisions, our best decisions from the heart, with energy flowing from the higher chakras, giving us our intuition, and from the lower chakras, our connections to people around us, our emotions, our abilities, all these things flowing in through the heart. So these would be, an example of the chakras, and each one of them has different aspects of our lives, our personalities, our decisions, how we treat people. And when one of them become out of tune, or effectively cut off, it affects our lives. When it comes to things like Reiki is one way of which being able to heal the different chakra points, but also all the different energy centers of the body, effectively connecting to the universe and helping the body to heal itself in its best possible way.
Wonderful. Uh, we're gonna go ahead and start. People have trickled in, and a lot more are gonna be trickling in as we talk. So I'll give you a quick rundown, everybody who's watching, who's never seen the show before. What I'm going to do is ask questions based on the 22 major arcana cards. And I normally hold up cards, but I forgot to separate them beforehand. Um, let's see if there's any questions before we start. Is there a specific Reiki you practice? There's all kinds of flavors of Reikis and modalities out there. That's a good
Yes,
question.
mine is based on Usui Western style Reiki.
Wonderful. Okay, Angel. Angel, be prepared, but
Here
if
it
there's
comes.
something that we need to pause on, let me know. All right, so in tarot, the first card of the major arcana is the Fool, and the Fool symbolizes new beginnings, innocence, purity, adventure, and rebellion. Where would you say your spiritual journey first began, Angel?
So my spiritual journey, really started when I was a child. Um, I had an ability to just kind of know things before they happen, not in the sense of words or images or pictures, but just the feeling. Felt very natural. I didn't understand it at the time, but I just always seemed to know things before they happen, and not when we think about that. Well, I just kind of have a feeling something's going to happen, but really to
Mm.
know it, it was uncanny, and I'd have to say that's really when it began.
Uh, that it's difficult. At what age were you when you started realizing there was more to the world?
Um, well, the ability started at a young age, but to really start to realize there was more to it is probably just pre-adolescence.
And were you accepting of abilities? Were you accepting of the unseen, or did it freak you out at first? How did that go about?
Pretty much freaked me out. And the thing is being who I was and where I was, um, really made it a challenge for me to accept such things. And so at a certain point, I just didn't, I would shove it down.
Right. Yeah, a lot of people tend to do that. I was not one of those people. I was raised with spiritually minded people, witches and all that good stuff. So the unseen was part of my growing up. It used to freak me out when I go over somebody's house and it didn't feel magical. You know, I don't know how to describe it. There just wasn't that magic in it. Um, the next card up on our hit list is the Magician. Now, the Magician is all about manifestation, creation, communication, building something. Um, was it difficult telling those around you about your spiritual side when it first started manifesting? Did you keep it to yourself? Um, how did that go?
Well, I couldn't tell anybody. I mean, I was raised as in the Jehovah's Witnesses cult. That environment, it doesn't allow for spiritual exploration, anything outside of their teachings, of course. So, I had to push it down. I had to suppress my innate abilities, and I did that for over 50 years. So only
Wow.
recently have I, started to reclaim this and uh, accepting of who I am and what I can do.
You guys, I know you're only seeing him on TV, but when you stand in Angel's presence, he's definitely got a power about him. He's definitely he vibes is what I call it. He definitely vibes. Um, a lot of the time it's difficult telling people in the best of situations that we believe in woo-woo stuff, as a lot of people call it. Um, when you are raised in a very religious surrounding, that must have driven you crazy. I know it drives a lot of people to substance abuse and uh, depression. Did you suffer anything like that when you were growing
Uh,
up?
Absolutely. I mean, I grew up with thoughts of suicide and plans of suicide and actions of such things, always feeling you're not good enough or something, horrible is about to happen to you, or because, who you are, what you do, what you think about, what the actions you've taken, there was And then, of course, the connections to spirit, which are absolutely not allowed. You just kind of had this, you lived with this feeling of doom your whole life. So if you can imagine decades of just always running because you're just in absolute fear. Now, obviously, here, fast forward into today's world, my ability as far as connecting to people in a spiritual level, I'm all too happy to talk about it. When it comes to people, I'm right out there because I'm in my mid 50s. I don't have time for this kind of stuff. I don't have time for games or, if this is something you accept, great. And if it's not, I can move on. But I have a mission and I want to absolutely accomplish that.
Awesome. Here's where we're deviating a little bit from the set questions. The high priestess represents the intuition, mystery, and the subconscious mind. Now, the question I have deals with tarot. Was tarot the first divinatory tool that you used? We're not going to go that one. Instead, I'm going to ask you, uh, Angel is a priest of Hekate, and we're going to focus the question around that. When did Hecate enter your life?
That's an excellent question. Actually, it's funny. I was reading a book by Jason Miller on consorting with spirits, and that's when she actively came to me and drew me to her. And I found out, of course, later on when, there's people that have traumas or bad things that have occurred in their life, or they're just trying to put their lives back together. She will very often call people to her or be drawn to her. And so my experience really aligned with that.
Now, I know a lot of people are nervous around working with Hecate before they know who she is, simply based on her reputation. And I can't say they're wrong. She is at times, she's a goddess you want to be careful working with. But she's also an understanding goddess. I get asked a lot if I was ever scared to work with her. I never was. Were you?
No, I wasn't. She always kind of presented herself in a motherly, nurturing fashion to me. I've never been on the side of that level of displeasure from her.
Yeah, you don't want to be on that side of displeasure from her at all. It's funny. I have a Hecate story that I told you about before. When I got my Ken Payne and Chris Butler Hecate deck, I was going through it and I was talking to somebody who was a mutual friend of ours in the past on the telephone, and I hit one of the cards, which is called Brimo. And for those who don't know, Brimo is called the angry one. It's an aspect of Hecate you really don't want to fuck with. Um, and she was just rattling on about something, and Brimo manifested, and I just railed out of nowhere. And that conversation pretty much ended our friendship. A lot of stuff was said that day, but yeah, let's see what everybody's saying.
I
Mario, I
have.
learned more
I
about.
can tell you this. There's been times when I've made her not happy with me, but I've never,
Oh
seen
yeah,
her.
no,
But she treats me, like I
frustrated.
said, more like
Yes.
a mother would with, a child, and discipline as well as always in love.
Yeah, that's true. I get feelings of frustration at times, and then things will start to slowly go wrong until I readjust my thinking. All right, so the next question, speaking of motherly power, is the Empress card, and this deals with fertility, beauty, and abundance. In what ways do you nurture your spiritual self?
Well, I can't stress enough to everybody, meditation is absolutely very important in your, spiritual practice, so When it comes to nurturing my spiritual self, the meditations, spiritual cleansing. Aidan Wachter talks about the luminous fibers, kind of like dust in Arizona. You walk around, you're going to get dust on your car, dust on your clothes. It's the same thing. You work in the spiritual realm, you get the spiritual ick, if you will. And so meditation, spiritual cleansings, surrounding myself for protective items, and that means working with them on a monthly basis. I don't believe in the once set and forget, or once saved always saved kind of thing, if you will. But every month you're going over them. You're going over yourself and your own chakras healings. You're reading and seeking knowledge, because knowledge is power. Part of that. Part of that nurturing is nurturing the inner self with knowledge. The most important tool in anything, I don't care if it's your career or in the spiritual realm, is information. And so that information is huge, and in a way to be able to grow and nurture the seed that is in you.
I wish more people realize that. I wish that I think if people took time to take care of themselves just a few minutes a day in spiritual ways, they'd be much healthier and the world would be a much better place.
Yes.
Hey, Ethnicity, how you doing? Good to see you. Now, our next question is about the emperor. And the emperor signifies authority, structure, and leadership. I know you, bro. You do a lot. You're busy. How do you do so much and manage to stay so structured?
Well, I can tell you it's a challenge on a daily basis. I'm I'm an engineer. It's a real balancing act, and with my ADHD brain, I'm not always successful. But between career, family, friends, cats, dogs, animals, it's really tough. And then of course there's my mean time as well. I make a lot of use of early mornings. I get up really early, most days before family and everyone's up, and I say my good mornings to Hekate and to the deities that I work with, make my offerings for the day. Other times I work late at night. Everyone's gone to bed, people fall asleep, I get up and I'm doing things sometimes late at night and doing the red eye things. And other times, it's just about when I travel, because I travel for work, I'm in a hotel room or something like that. I take those quiet moments to, really reflect on what I'm doing and do things like meditations and stuff like that.
Awesome. The next card we have up is the Hierophant. The Hierophant represents tradition, spirituality, and teaching. I know you follow Hecate. What other uh, deities do you work with?
Well, I work with several actually, but when it comes to directions, I walk what's known as the left-hand path. So I don't follow things like organized religions and stuff like that. I focus on the personal growth, bringing oneself up to be the best version of myself. So that would be a lot of the other underworld entities, as well as like Hekate, Kali, Lucifer, and a host of the demonic that I work with. But that's what's called the left-hand path.
I knew that we were going to be friends because when we met at a psychic fair, and we were both asked to do the opening invocation that day. Um, I did the cleansing and you did the blessing. And when you did the invocation, you asked for protection from spirits above and below. And when you did that, I saw a lot of people's heads whip around like that because these are strictly light workers. They're not used to working with chthonic deities. And I giggled. I was giggling it to myself. And I was like, bro, my new best friend. Okay. Yeah, I was in mode that day. That was awesome. So our next card is the Lovers, and the Lovers card symbolizes relationships, duality, choices. And my question for you is, how have your romantic relationships been shaped by your spirituality? I know your wife, Bonnie, she's a lovely, lovely woman. And how accepting was she at first?
She was very accepting actually because she's Buddhist, and what was great was, and actually refreshing, was somebody who was so accepting of the things that I wanted to do and the things that I wanted to explore. But as I told you before, I had a certain innate ability that always tend to surface even when I'd repress it at times, and that's the ability to know things. When I met Bonnie, it was online, and I was drawn to her, and I had never actively seen her before. I didn't know what she looked like. I didn't know where she lived. I knew nothing about her, but something in my mind, I just knew. There was this deep spiritual pull. I even told her once, I said, even a blind man could see the beauty that is you. And I hadn't even seen her face yet.
Oh,
So, looking back, I realized that this was my abilities asserting themselves at that moment. It was guiding me towards someone meant for me.
dude, what you just said, even a blind man, dude, I do you. My gosh, everybody wants somebody like that. I'm like, oh, yeah, it makes, when I met my partner, it just, as soon as we met, it made sense. And there was no other path for me. I was locked in. And
Right.
I get what you mean. Finding somebody who is accepting of you. My my partner is supportive as well as accepting.
Good.
It was his suggestion for me to work out of the house, um, instead of rent office space. And I just love the fact that you have somebody in your life.
Yeah.
Um, oh, that's why you were saying hi, Bonnie. Hi, Bonnie Price.
Oh,
Uh, I was like, oh
there she is.
yeah, yeah. Oh, that's Bonnie. Bonnie.
That's Bonnie. Bonnie.
Is that Bonnie? Bonnie? What up, girlfriend? How you been? I hope you're feeling better. For I'd like to share the fact that Bonnie recently had some serious medical issues going on, and I'm glad she's back on her feet. Um, Bonnie, Bonnie. She's one of my favorite people in the world. So our next question
Thank you.
is about the chariot, and this is determination, control, and willpower. Has it been difficult moving forward with your chosen path? And what kind of roadblocks have you faced?
My biggest roadblocks were internal. The left hand path demands that you confront your traumas. This is the only way to move forward is you have to go within. Um, whether you call, in the Hecate's world, we call it Hecate's cave, which is really a journey within yourself to deal with the past traumas that you've had. Aidan Wachter talks about it. A lot of different um, spiritualists talk about it. Psychologists talk about it. You can call it doing shadow work or just dealing with your trauma from childhood or when it occurred. But the point of the matter is to be able to move forward spiritually in the left-hand path, you really have to deal with these. So my logical mind, my ego mind, wants to push these down. Oh, you're fine. That happened in the past. You're okay now. This rationalize it away. That's ancient history, whatever you want to use. Or even in the term, what I like, you hear the term toxic positivity. It's just, rationalizing and putting yourself in a form of denial, which is really lying to yourself, So this was challenging to me. It meant I had to face my past, including my time in the Jehovah's Witnesses cult. So these were always roadblocks that I had to overcome, throughout my time.
When you talk about toxic positivity, I know exactly what you mean. People who throw themselves into something and convince themselves that's
Yes.
the reality. It just you can see they're obviously not believing the bullshit they're saying. They're just smiling and grinning just to get through the day and events. And yeah, that bothers me. So the chariot also represents your lineage and your bloodline. It runs in your blood spirituality because I've mentioned it before on my channel. Your son Harrison is my tarot apprentice.
Yes.
Uh, for those who know Mechanicus, uh, when he pops into chat, this is his father. This is my bro. Um, so our next card is strength. Strength embodies courage, inner strength, and resilience. My question for you is, where do you find your inner strength?
Well, I have a lot of tenacity, but sometimes I'll be honest, I don't feel strong enough. And when that happens, I call on the goddess Hekate, my mother. She helps me find the strength, or maybe shows me what I need to see through things like divination or messages from spirit guide. But nothing's handed to you. She helps you find the strength from within to be able to move forward. It's work. And I myself, I have a desire to know more. I've always been a person who loves knowledge, loves learning. I want to become more. These are the things that fuel me. So when it comes to inner strength, it's having that tenacity with the help of the spiritual guides that you work with. But then you can't just stare at a book on a shelf. You actually have to open it and do the work. It'll sit there and collect dust. And that's with anything in life, right? Whether you're talking about taking out the garbage or actively doing spirit work, if you stare at it long enough, it'll never get done. You actually
Right.
have to do the work. You have to put forth an effort.
That is so true. There was a point in my life when I was not well off. I was living on the streets. I was couch surfing. I was addicted to drugs and alcohol. It was a very rough time in my life, and I made the conscious decision to take that first step. I didn't know how many steps I could take, or even if I would be able to take more than one step, but I literally put one foot in front of the other and just focused on that. I advise everybody, if you have situations that you're having to face, just take it one step at a time. Don't try to do everything all at once. The next card up we have is the Hermit, and the Hermit symbolizes introspection, wisdom, and solitude. Now, my question for you is, how do you spend your alone time? You made references to doing all this stuff and then, of course, being alone. What do you do in that alone time?
Well, my alone time, it's really a mixture, sometimes I just need to disconnect, and I can do anything from, stuff that every day in life, from hiking to, I like scuba diving. I do all kinds of things. I've done a lot in life, but it could be as simple as, just playing video games, watching mindless TV, or, just chatting with friends. Other times, it's about meditation. And I mentioned that before, reading, researching, practicing my craft. I read something, I let's try it out. Let's see what happens. Or, just sitting with my thoughts and grounding, connecting to the world around me, connecting to things that are around me, feeling a part of this world and not so disconnected from it. Things that, careers and, the digital world sometimes tends to do to us.
Right. I am plugged. People don't understand. They text me and they won't hear from me for throughout the day. But the reason is I don't have my phone with me. A lot of the time, I just unplug, like you say. I'll leave it somewhere
Mhm.
and then eventually get back to it throughout the day. And that's because I was carrying it around. I was staring at my phone all day long. And when I was driving, I was checking my phone. And I finally had to just, like you say, unplug.
Right.
Uh, Hypnicity. I lived on the streets in Santa Cruz, addicted to Coke. Been Coke free since '85. Yeah, rock on. I went the same route with AA. So, all right. So, Angel, our next question is the wheel, natural cycles, change of luck. My question for you is, I lost track of what I was doing. Can you share a significant turning point in your spiritual journey for us?
You know, a major a major turning point would be when I read a book called The Six Ways by Aidan Wachter. It was huge. Uh, Well-known sorcerer. You know, it really shifted my entire perspective on everything. Along with that, at the same time, I was studying Reiki and working toward becoming a Reiki master. It really opened me up to spirit and the universe in a way that I had never experienced before.
I think a lot of people are having a little bit of a mind fuck right now, Angel, because you're a light worker and they're trying to deal with the fact that you work with spirits and demons and still be a light worker. I think that's what a lot of people are. And I
You
love
know,
the fact that we can walk both sides of the fence here and still.
sometimes you'll hear the term the gray witch. Is that you walk the line. I like to say that I'll use whatever tool in the box is necessary to
Chaos.
do the job.
I'm a chaos
All
witch.
for good
I know.
though. All for good.
Yeah, all for the good. So, Bonnie with the little demon faces down here. Mata would like for you to repeat the name that you had just said.
Aidan Wachter.
There
So
you go, Mata.
AIDAN Wachter.
Maruta is our tribal. Uh, she studies. If we have a question, she's got the answer at her fingertips. So you'll see me in my shows if I don't know something. If she's there, Manu, what was that again? And she'll have the answer. I love it. Balance is our next topic, my friend. Justice signifies balance, fairness, and the truth. What I like to know is uh, it asks if our actions have been in balance. If you could go back and change one thing in your life, what would you change?
This is an easy question. Actually, if I could go back to that moment when my mother asked me if I wanted to be one of Jehovah's Witnesses. I was a kid. I was 8, 9, something like that. You know, what are you going to say? You're not going to say no. Your parents are it. Your grandparents are it. Everybody is part of it. You're not going to say no. You want to please your parents. You want to do what they want. And I'm picking on Jehovah's Witnesses, but whatever religion is not fitting for you, we'll just say it that way. It's just the fact that you're doing what your parents want. If I could have
Yeah,
gone back and whispered in my ear that younger version of me and say, I'm here, things are going to be okay. It's okay to walk away. There's so much more that awaits you in the future than what you're about to do right now.
it's funny you talk about going back and whispering in your own ear. I just recently had this conversation. In my meditations, one thing I like to do is send my consciousness back to my younger self and give warnings and give guidance, be my own spiritual guide. Um, that's what I thought of when you said that. So yes, everybody in chat is. Oh, Maru put the book up, the link for the book you were talking about. Kristen's here. Hey, Kristen, loving the new look, my dear. Um, I lost my question in my brain. It was a follow-up question for you. Gosh darn it. I guess it wasn't. Trying to keep track of what's going on in chat for everybody. All right, Angel. Our next question is the Hangman, and he symbolizes surrender, perspective. Um, Looking back, what advice do you wish someone had given you? And the big question here is, would you have taken it?
Well, there's two parts to that, actually. On the
Hmm.
spiritual side, I wish someone had told me that, hey, it's okay. You have these abilities, and you have real interest in learning them, and you're always drawn to it, that you keep pushing away. It's okay to go and explore that side and let it grow, and things of that nature. I wish somebody had told me that. On the in the physical realm, if you will, I wish somebody had told me, leave home, go get a student loan, go to college somewhere far away, follow your
Right.
dreams. But the answer, unfortunately, to both these things is, it's really hard to know if I'd have listened, because honestly, I was so ingrained in that cult and so terrified, under their thumb, that I don't know if I would have listened or not. I guess it would depend on who's telling me.
Yeah, I don't think I would have listened to anything anybody told me when I was younger. You could tell me, and I would have nodded and smiled and then done exactly what I was,
Yeah,
run face first into a brick wall.
right.
That's what youth is for. So our next card is the Death card, card number 13. It represents transformation, endings, and rebirth. How do you approach change and transformation in your life?
Well, change is hard, and everyone will say that, and that's an absolutely true statement. When you have deeply ingrained beliefs and traumas because of those things, I can be stubborn, and push against change at times. But when I truly see the need for it, whether it's been reflection upon what's going on, discussion with other people talking to me, and sometimes reaffirmed through divination, and then it, kind of hits you like a brick wall that you know what you're supposed to be doing. You know, I try at that point, do my best to lean into it. That's part of the left-hand path, is accepting who you are, accepting the truth of what is in front of you, and then doing that thing.
Yeah. Yeah, you can't lie to yourself. And if you're going to continue to lie to yourself, you're not going to advance spiritually. So here's the card I was looking forward to. Temperance. Temperance embodies balance, moderation, and harmony. Temperance is also the card of Sagittarius. You're a Sagittarius,
Yes, I am.
in case you didn't know. I love the Temperance card. It's a survivor's card. Was there ever a point in your life where you didn't think you were going to make it?
Well, first, let me just say you're right, Sagittarius, with the moon in Aries, so fire and fire. But times I didn't think I'd make it. Yeah, there's been actually many times. I mentioned before things, suicidal thoughts, suicidal actions, but always with the thought of getting a hold of my future in my own hands before what the cult has taught me happens. And just terrible way to live. But somehow something always kind of pulled me back from the edge, including a couple miracles that to this day I don't know how I'm still here breathing air. But spirit, the universe, my lovely wife, my friends, um, I owe so much to so many people, and it's always, in the back of my head. So yeah, definitely times I didn't think I'd make it.
Um,
If you want to talk about just strictly in the spirit realm, are there time? Yes, absolutely, because you feel like, maybe I'm not doing enough. I'm not progressing enough. I'm not doing the things that I should be doing because, again, balancing work, life, and everything else, trying to please everybody and everything in the life. Uh, yes, there are times when you think that maybe you're just hitting a brick wall, but as she constantly reminds me, and I pull it up in an oracle card or something like that, and it's always very timely. And that is, it's a journey. It's not a race. There is no finish line. So don't worry about it. Just you take a step when you can take that step, but always moving forward, even if it's 5 minutes a day or just a thought for less than a couple seconds. It's as long as you continue to work toward it. She knows, they know you're doing your best. That's all that matters.
I agree. I fully agree with everything you just said. Um, the devil card. The devil card symbolizes temptation, materialism, and control. What was the hardest thing you ever had to break free of? Was it the organized religion or was there more?
The organized religion, because they literally controlled everything you did, you thought, you felt, who you talked to, who you didn't talk to, where you went, career choice, all of it. It was terrifying, but it was absolutely necessary. And from that, then comes breaking free of what's in here, because even though you leave, you haven't really left. You haven't given up the guilt. So
Yeah.
forgiving oneself was another hard thing to break free of, and I've worked very, very hard to break free of um, my own conscious mind at times.
Yeah, the devil card is all about breaking free. It's being chained to things that are unhealthy for you. And a lot of people in the spiritual community, I find, have started off on that Christian springboard. Um, that's the starting point here in America, obviously, but people break away from it. It just doesn't vibe with them. And I hope, my hope for everybody is that they find their own path. They can use Christianity as a jumping space, but I hope you find your own path. I really do. The tower represents upheaval, sudden change, and revelation. How do you deal with upheaval in your life? What's your advice for handling those tower moments?
The advice I'd give to anybody, and this is advice that I tell myself constantly since getting into spirit work is, and especially the left hand path, is sometimes the only way out is through.
Hmm.
And sometimes the fastest way out is through. Avoidance, it just prolongs the pain. A person once told me, and it was addressing me specifically, you'll never reach your full potential unless you jump into the water. Now, that person was not talking about swimming, had nothing to do with water, actually. But in the situation, was well taken, and it stuck with me. And so my biggest advice is, when there's upheaval in your life, don't don't shove it down, meet it head on. When you get out of it, it will have been faster, less painful, and you'll be glad that you did it that way.
Yeah, you can't sweep things under the rug
No, you can't.
because uh, you just the whole concept of the tower card is rebuilding after things have been destroyed. You have the opportunity to build your life up after things have gone to hell. The A lot of people live in denial and they never get out of it.
Right.
What we were talking about toxic positivity, this kind of goes along with it. Let's check chat real fast. We've got forgiveness is key.
Mhm.
Allow everyone to be on their own path. He always leaves alone. Um, yeah, the Tower card also gives insight. So with destruction comes realization that, oh, maybe I should have rebuilt this, or I should rebuild this in a different way instead of doing it the same uh, over and over. The Star card is next up, and it signifies hope, inspiration, and renewal. Uh, Looking back, who would you say was your guiding light?
I've actually had a few, you know, spirit animals like the bear, the wolf, my incredible wife, my friend William, and of course the goddess Hekate, who first reached out to me when I was reading that Jason Miller's book. It was definitely an inflection point in my life.
I got called to Hecate when I was still on the street. That was what got me off the street, was a vision I had of her.
Mm,
And
that's right.
I saw her, I knew who she was, but I had never thought of following her. But I tell you, when she made herself known to me, I jumped. I jumped in with both feet. Let's see what the chat is saying. Hey, welcome back, Selena. Yeah, okay, Hypnicity. I like the tower. It means upgrades. You have the chance to upgrade your life. Exactly. So, did I lose track? Yes, I did. Okay. So now we've got the moon card, which represents illusions, dreams, and the subconscious. Um, this is a tricky question. The moon card, uh, the question I have is, how do you deal with those who you view as enemies? I I
Yeah,
I
take
stick them in the freezer. I
a
do.
have to have a big enough freezer. I'll be honest. I do not suffer bullies well. Yeah, I just don't. I was bullied as a kid. You know, if there's someone hurting others, I'm not going to just stand by. I've had people come to me in pain, people that need protection, people that are being wronged, really wronged by others. And, sometimes that means shielding, but if there's things that the law and the government and things like that cannot do anything about, when necessary, yes, I will absolutely curse. I will absolutely hex. People sometimes ask me, well, aren't you afraid of karma? And I'm like, well, the difference between yes and no and karma is the difference between revenge and vengeance. Revenge is personal. It comes from within. Call it karma, call it whatever you want. You're hurting yourself, and that comes back into yourself. Vengeance, on the other hand, that's justice for a wrong that has to be stopped. And I will absolutely do whatever I can to protect those that I care about.
Yeah, people on my channel, in my tarot tribe, are very wonderful light workers. And the first time I said, no, I'm not that kind of witch, I will hex your ass. Everybody went, oh, okay, sir. But no, I'm not Wiccan. Neither are you. We are not those type of witches. We are good people, but
Right.
we do have boundaries. Do not cross our fucking boundaries, or
Right.
you will find out why we are witches.
Angel is a protector. That's what I do.
That's right. Your name, your chosen name. I should point out, Angel is not his government name. This is his chosen name because that is what he is. He is an angel. He is a protector and a healer, and I love this man. I really do. Um,
Love you
the
too, my friend.
sun. sun embodies joy, success, and vitality. What brings you joy, and how do you celebrate your successes?
Party time. No, celebrating, friends, family, people in my life bring me joy. I'm a real extrovert. I love people. Um, those conversations, laughter, connecting with others, you know, um, and of course, that I have a real deep gratitude for all of the people in my life, for all the things in my life. I have a deep gratitude for you. Um, uh, I owe so much, a deep gratitude to Hekate and the spirits that have helped me got here. It all brings me joy just to be a part of it.
I agree. Uh, you need to find joy throughout the day. Don't plan on joy in the future. Don't plan on good times. You need to find happiness throughout
Right.
the day. You know, a friend of mine online calls them glimmers, those little spots of happiness throughout the day.
Hmm. Right.
Um, I'm all darkness and magic, but I'm also rainbows and lollipops, so I'm a dichotomy.
Right. I'm
Here
right with.
we here we have the judgment card, which symbolizes rebirth, uh, judgment, and an inner calling. Judgment says it's time to reflect on our lives. If they were creating a movie about your life and experiences, what would it be called?
It would be called Twisters 3. So Hollywood out there. Um, I mean, life's really definitely felt like a wild storm, and but hey, the house went across the road, and I drove through it, and hey, I'm still here. I'm still standing, so that's all good.
I wanted to do that when I saw that in the flick so bad. Just, yeah. Let's check chat. Okay. Yeah, glimmers. Collect your glimmers. All right. And the final question I have for you, Angel, is, and I keep doing this because I wear bifocals. I'm trying to get out of the habit of doing that so I could read the screen. Um, the world card represents completion, achievement, and fulfillment. It's a great big world out there. Where would you most like to visit and why?
Rome, specifically the Colosseum. Um, I have been fighting my whole life, one way or another. I just want to stand there in that ancient place, put my hand on it, and feel it just once. That's what I really want to do.
That is on my list of things to see. I would like to go to the temple at Lagina, um, Hecate's temple. That would be, that is the pilgrimage that would end up pilgrimages for me. Um, do you like to travel?
I love the travel, and I'm world traveled to several different places.
I'm jealous. I don't really like to travel because I'm uncomfortable sitting in one place for too long, so long plane rides really bother me. Uh, I am going to open the floor to see if anybody has questions for Angel. And if not, we're going to chat for a second about what you have coming up in the future. I'm really want everybody to know more about the services you offer.
One of the things I do, and everyone's always welcome, is the Holistic Center here in Bisbee. We do Reiki healings. They're 10 minutes long. They also do tarot readings, and there's some people that do massage and, different services, but they're just quick little healings for everyone. And it's totally free, and it's giving back to the community, and everybody really enjoys it. You come in, get a reading, get a quick healing, and it's not just usually one person. You have sometimes 2 or 3 people, maybe even more, working on you simultaneously. The amount of energy is incredible. in between people that are there, we jump up on the table and have healings from everyone else. And it's great. And then of course, from a full, healing perspective, a lot of us, and, myself, I offer Reiki healings, chakra healings, full chakra healings. So that's the advanced chakra points, the ones above your crown, and, some of the other points that I mentioned, there's over 1,000 different points to heal energy. I do some sounding with soundboards. I do, with tuning forks, and these are healings and things like that I do. But I also give, I read oracle cards and runes for people at times. I do healings at people's places of home. So if you have, we've all been in places where things kind of felt kind of icky. I don't care if it's a hotel room or, an office place or something, or it's like, ugh, doesn't feel too good in here. Let's come in and heal that space. Let's get rid of the ick. So that negativity, that space clearing, I utilize a combination of Feng Shui with Reiki to heal or cleanse a space of things that don't serve you. And that also sometimes deals with entities, unfortunately, at times, to remove them from space or people when it doesn't serve them.
Hypnocity was asking, do you deal with past life?
I do not, but I do know people that do.
You introduced me to a lovely woman who I still want to get on here. So, speaking of past lives, Angela and I have known each other in a past life. We stumbled across that at dinner one night. You guys have heard me talk about a friend of mine who I shared a past life experience with. Ta-da! This is the bro right here. So I'm sure that I have a theory that if I shared one past life with somebody, I probably have shared other past lives with them. So I do want to get hooked up with your past life regression friend. And what was her name again?
Her name is Halise, and she's helped me with past lives, and for myself, highly recommend her. She's a great spirit medium.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. She was looking Bisbee on the map today. Yes. Yes, out here where we live, copper is big in the mines. There used to be copper mining in the city that Angel lives. I'm the next city over. Angel, you have been a charm for joining me today and opening up about your life. I really appreciate it. And anybody who would like to contact Angel for booking a session, his information is on his channel information is in the link. I don't know if I put your email. I'll add it in a while if I haven't, but you can find it through his channel also. So I would like to say thank you, and dude,
Thank you, Bobby. It's been
continue
a
doing
pleasure
the
to be here.
work you're doing. The world needs more people like you in it, and I'm proud to be your friend. Everybody, thank you for
Thank
joining
you.
us today, and I'll see you guys in the next video, okay? Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Bobby. Thank you.